If the trade deadline were tomorrow, what would every NBA team do? Even though it's still 3 months until the NBA trade deadline, each team should already be planning the moves they'll need to make then. Every team should be considering a trade right now, whether it's to address a certain position, prepare for the postseason, join the tankathon for Victor Wembanyama, address a certain position, or find a return for a player who will soon be a free agent. Next up are the transactions that all 30 clubs would make if the trade deadline was tomorrow, even if the 2022-23 NBA season is still beginning. Find a point guard if you're the Washington Wizards. Given his talent, Monty Morris ought to be given at least some consideration for a slot in a team's rotation. Morris will, however, virtually always be the underdog in the East, which boasts all-star floor generals like Trae Young, James Harden, Darius Garland, LaMelo Ball, Drew Holiday, Fred VanVleet, and others. At the deadline, Washington ought to be prepared to make a trade for a better point guard, allowing Morris to manage the second squad. Finding a stronger option to play next to Bradley Beal would assist the Wizards' scoring assault, which currently ranks 22nd in the NBA. Enter Phase 2 of the rebuild, Utah Jazz. Trading Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert this summer was the best possible start to Utah's rebuild. The Jazz are off to an unexpected 7-3 start to the season and have the draft assets required to swing a large deal if they chose, thanks to the acquisition of 7 first-round picks and the signing of crucial players like Lauri Markkanen and Colin Sexton. Even though it would be tempting, it's crucial for this team to keep to the plan and move on to Phase 2, getting rid of the inferior players like Mike Conley Jr., Jordan Clarkson, and Malik Beasley off the squad. Given the kind of talent available in the 2023 draft class, Utah needs to do a better job of tanking than the equally unexpected San Antonio Spurs and Oklahoma City Thunder. Look for guard depth with the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors have a lot of size all around the court, making it difficult to score because of the length and rim protection they provide. In the backcourt, where Fred VanVleet is once again expected to bear a heavy load, they continue to struggle. VanVleet is up to 38.0 minutes through his first 6 games after averaging 37.9 minutes per game last year. No other true guard on the team averages more than Delano Banton's 8.4 minutes per game, while Gary Trent Jr., his backcourt partner, is putting in 35.6 minutes this season after 35.0 the year before. Players like VanVleet and Trent would be kept fresh for the playoffs if this club could use a dependable third guard who can handle the ball and play 15 to 20 minutes per game off the bench. San Antonio Spurs. Accept the tank. Perhaps we should have made a wager on the Spurs to win the championship this year? Despite having no plans to upgrade the roster this winter, San Antonio is off to a 5-4 start thanks to breakout seasons from Trey Jones, Keldon Johnson, and Devin Vassell. The Spurs shouldn't lose sight of the end result in this situation, which is a 7 feet 4 inches center from France, despite this nice surprise of a start. The remaining veterans, including as Doug McDermott, Josh Richardson, and Jakob Poeltl, must be removed off the roster. All would look great on a group like the Brooklyn Nets, Dallas Mavericks, or Los Angeles Lakers. San Antonio should finish demolishing this structure since it is now just a little too good. Sacramento Kings. Put everything on the line for the play-in game. Should the Kings risk everything for a slim opportunity to advance to the play-in round? Most likely not. If they do, probably. After a dismal 2-5 start, the hope of finally making the playoffs shouldn't be dismissed, despite the fact that this squad has some serious defensive problems. These young Kings have potential, particularly if Keegan Murray can maintain his excellent start. The New Orleans Pelicans demonstrated to us last season that teams that initially appear to have little chance of making the playoffs can still advance to the play-in round, particularly with the help of a trade for a seasoned player like CJ McCollum. These Kings might be the Pelicans from last year, zigging when most would zag and shocking everyone with a veteran move. Go all in for a title run with the Portland Trail Blazers. Portland, a squad that didn't expect to be among the top teams in the West going into the season, is pleased with its 6-2 record thus far. What's more, in his 5 games, Lillard has played like his old self, averaging 31.0 points, 4.8 rebounds, 4.6 assists, and shooting 39.2% from three-point range. Even if it means making future sacrifices, the Blazers should capitalize on this excellent start. 7th overall selection in order to add to the core of Damian Lillard, Anthony Simons, Jeremy Grant, Yusuf Nurkic, and Josh Hart, Shaedon Sharpe is the ideal trade piece. Rebuilding teams should be interested in drafting young players like Nasser Little and Keon Johnson as well. Lillard may only be at his best for a short while longer in Portland. The time has come to commit fully. Jae Crowder needs a new home, Phoenix Suns. The Suns, who are 6-2 to start the season, don't appear to have suffered without Crowder. Even yet, this team's top priority continues to be dealing the season forward, as the 32-year-old 3-and-D specialist is expected to generate a lot of attention from other league teams. Although the Suns would demand win-now players back in exchange, teams like the Miami Heat, Cleveland Cavaliers, Brooklyn Nets, Memphis Grizzlies, and New York Knicks would all need a guy like Crowder. Phoenix still appears to be a top NBA club. They will become even better if Crowder receives the return of another rotation player. Philadelphia 76ers. Take Matisse Thybulle's calls. The 76ers would be tempted to make a significant deal if the deadline were tomorrow after learning that James Harden is anticipated to miss the following month due to a tendon strain in his right foot. Instead of panicking, Philadelphia should remember that a core of Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and Tobias Harris is capable of handling the offensive load for a few weeks. The defensive standout Thybulle, who will be a free agency next summer after failing to agree to a contract extension during the winter, deserves to be the center of attention. The 25-year-old is only playing 10.0 minutes per game on average and averaging a career-low 1.4 points on 33.3% shooting. The Sixers should at least respond to inquiries from teams in need of perimeter defense now that Thybulle doesn't appear to be Philadelphia's main attraction, especially if they don't want to pay him next offseason. Orlando Magic. Look at trading for Terrence Ross and Gary Harris. The Magic should consider relocating a few of their veterans as well, just like a handful of the rebuilding clubs on this list that are racing towards the bottom of the standings. Ross is off to a far better start this year than he did last, making 40.5% of his three-point attempts while averaging 10.1 points, 2.8 rebounds, and 1.3 assists per game. He would be a welcome addition to a contender's bench that was lacking some offensive punch. Following arthroscopic knee surgery, Harris has yet to play this season and his return date is not yet scheduled. Harris is a skilled 3-and-D wing who averaged 11.1 points and made 38.4% of his threes in 2021-22, assuming he returns before the deadline. Everyone from Orlando who isn't Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs, Cole Anthony, or Wendell Carter Jr. should be available, with Ross and Harris having the most likelihood of being relocated. Shop Mike Muscala and Kenrich Williams for Oklahoma City Thunder. 4 wins in a row and a 4-4 start to the season have derailed OKC's hopes to tank for at least another season. Even without Chet Holmgren, this team is simply too good. The deadline shopping for Williams and Muscala would aid in these endeavors. Williams is a 3-and-D wing with constant energy who would look excellent on the bench of any contender. Muscala is strong at stretching the floor and blocking shots from the rim. Williams and Muscala's trade would hasten the Thunder's efforts to add at least one more great talent to the mix. These are just 10 out of 30 teams we just covered. Hit the subscribe button to stay updated for more, and smash that like button for this video. Thanks for watching, stay safe and see you in the next one.